Are your emotions a barrier or a gateway to wisdom?
What breaks our hearts open to love, compassion, and mercy? These and other questions we will be discussing this week in Seeking Wisdom. I'm Lauren Welch.
And I'm Jon Shematek, and we're listening for clues. We've been taking a good look at wisdom over these last several weeks, starting with the story of King Solomon and how wisdom came to him as a gift from God. And then we moved on to Nicodemus and thought about how wisdom and intellect or knowledge were related or not related. And then last time, we had the story of Mary anointing the feet of Jesus with the expensive perfume and talked about the importance of the will to love in attaining wisdom. And today we're going to turn our attention to yet another familiar Bible story. And as we do that, we're seeking wisdom with a story of reunion. And so let's open our Bibles. And here we find ourselves in the book of Genesis, chapter 44, verses 1 to 15. And this is the very end of a familiar story of Joseph and the coat of many colors, which goes back many chapters in Genesis. At the beginning of that story, Joseph's brother, out of jealousy for his favor with his father, actually were going to kill him, but then instead left him to die in a pit. And he went on to be sold into slavery and had an incredible series of misadventures and bad luck, and finally some very good fortune, and became an extremely powerful member of Pharaoh's court. And so at this point, when we join the story, the brothers have come, thinking that Joseph, of course, was dead, had come to Egypt looking for grain because there was a famine in the land. And there was a famine, very widespread famine, all throughout the land. And so there was some back and forth, going back and forth home and coming to Egypt. Some Joseph was a little bit sneaky and kind of, I think, a bit angry about what had happened to him. And eventually, in this particular passage, we get to the climax of the story, where, as you can read it, Joseph just could no longer contain himself. He burst into tears and wept so loudly that the entire court of Pharaoh could hear him, and he dismissed them all. And then he told his brothers about everything that had happened, and they realized that, in fact, it was their brother Joseph whom they had abandoned to die. And yet he found a way to, yet he found a way to come to a different relationship with them. And at the end of this little passage, Joseph is weeping with compassion, with joy, over the necks of his brothers, and especially his youngest brother, Benjamin. And so this has been captured in an image. And Lauren, what with this? We picked this image for this passage, and what is it that you kind of is striking you today, and what you're thinking about as you're looking at this?
What strikes me is the love and the compassion that on Joseph's face. I think his younger brother really doesn't know what to make of it because he thought he was in trouble at that moment, and he's not. He's very much loved. You see his other brothers. I mean, some of them look horrified, and because they've just been told who he is, they thought he was dead. Joseph had known all along they were his brothers. Even a couple years before, when they came down for grain, he knew it. He knew it then. So he had had time to realize that. I mean, he knew his brothers were coming back, but they had no idea who Joseph was. So they are frightened. They're going to have to tell their dad. And they're also concerned at this moment. They're concerned about Benjamin because Benjamin they're concerned for Benjamin. So they don't look overjoyed to see Joseph. They look scared, maybe thinking that he wants more revenge on them. But the love and the compassion in Joseph's face is something that I think it was at that moment when he saw his youngest brother, who he had never met before. When he saw him, I think his heart was broken open. He could no longer hold the anger and the whatever else he was holding against his brothers. It's just a beautiful. It is a beautiful release of that kind of anger, and you see love flowing from him to his brother.
Yeah, and actually, to me, this painting looks like it's in almost two distinct parts. It's with Joseph and his brother in one part, and there's this closeness, tenderness, and the compassion, and the forgiveness. And I think the beginning of a true wisdom in Joseph's life. And on the other half of it, you see the brothers that are kind of almost like they're in a different world. It's dark, it's chaotic. Their heads are going in all these different directions. So there's just tremendous swirling of emotion there. And, it's one of the things I was kind of struck by when we were considering that emotion has some role in wisdom. To me, that was kind of surprising. I really haven't thought that much that emotion is something that can open a gate to wisdom.
I think it was that great love that did break him open, and I think we see that in our own lives when we experience deep emotion.
Yeah. And so, what I would invite our viewers to do, and we're going to just in a moment go into about almost 2 minutes, I guess, of meditation where our viewers can look at this image and think about perhaps a time in their lives when emotion has opened a gate to wisdom. And then you and I will come back to close at the end of that. Wow. Well, I love that piece, and I loved just the quiet of looking at the image and thinking about what it means to us and how it might have informed our own selves and wisdom. And so, Lauren and I would love to thank everyone for spending this bit of time with us. We've enjoyed having you. We've enjoyed putting these videos together. There are more to come. So please, if you'd like to check out ones, you may not have seen them before, please visit us at our website, www.listing.com, and there are more there for you. There are also some meditations from last Lent. If you wanted to take a look at those, that'd be kind of cool as well. So what's going to happen next is Lauren is going to close us with a very, as she does every session, with a reading from Rhea Maria Rilke, and then there will be yet another image, and this one is the image of Holy Wisdom, followed by some music to help ease you out of this. Thanks again for being here.
Have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers, which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer.